Hello everyone, this is part 59 of What If Naruto Had Two Bloodlines, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto was a bit upset that it had begun raining. This was delaying his training. He figured that it must be alright however, since he could use the much needed rest, as could Yamato. Naruto looked up at the dreary weather. It was really pouring. Normally Naruto felt a bit at ease when it lightly rained as it was, but this time something seemed off. He then realized that something familiar that he normally felt was gone. A sad expression appeared his face as Kakashi asked why this was. After asking Naruto what was wrong, he had walked out into the rain. He looked into the sky and closed his eyes for a moment. He made some hand seals and slowly opened his eyes a few moments later. Kakashi and Yamato questioned this. They then felt a slight rumble in the earth. What followed horrified them. Kurenai stood at her window. She watched as each drop of rain fell from sky. She looked down and gently patted and rubbed her stomach with a slight smile on her face. She looked back up at the dreary sky and turned back into her apartment. After scolding Yuki on her little trick with her, a cloaked Sakura, Yuki, and a nervous Hinata made their way through the rain. Their destination, the training area Naruto was currently at. As they neared, Yuki shuddered. She could feel this strange source of energy that she faintly remembered. They got within enough distance to see something shocking. Naruto was standing out in the rain with a black, almost aura-like energy around him. He growled and roared as it whipped about around him. Two white tufts appeared on top of his head and instantly turned completely black. His white hair shortly followed, as did his tail. As his fangs sharpened, his eyes darkened. He looked like a monstrous beast howling in the rain. Chills shot down their spines as he stopped yowling and shifted his gaze to Kakashi and Yamato, who was activating his jutsu to stop the Kyuubi's chakra. This chakra, it doesn't feel right, even for the demon fox. There are traces of it in the chakra, but is it really a result of the fox? Yamato pondered. That chakra, Yuki whispered. This is bad. Naruto took a step towards the two Junin and Yamato immediately had his wooden figures go for him. Many of them wrapped their jaws around him and his chakra's pressure lightened. A few growls from him were all that could be heard. Suddenly, Yamato's wooden figures were blown back and destroyed by a release of pressurized wind and water. Before they could even think of reacting to this, Naruto appeared between them and snatched them up with his tails. A space-time jutsu. Kakashi wondered. Before another thought could pass through his mind, Kakashi and Yamato were slammed to the muddy ground. He then said them together and then back into the mud. He lifted them up and held them in the air. Kakashi and Yamato began to feel weak. It was as if they were losing strength when they needed it most. A vicious smirk crossed Naruto's lips but changed when Narutoo. Sakura screamed as she ran from her hiding place. Stop this. I know you don't mean to do this. If it's you, I know you can tame that monster in you. Naruto's smirk had disappeared. All that was left was a cold look that he geared towards Sakura. He slammed the two Junin into the mud once more, still keeping his hold on them. He began slowing advancing towards Sakura. She didn't budge as he picked up the pace until he was running at her. As he dragged the two Junin through the mud, Sakura was beginning to think that this was a bad idea. It was too late to run as Naruto was on her in a heartbeat. He reared back and thrusted his palm at her. Sakura fell back into the mud. She blinked in disbelief since she didn't seem to be harmed. She looked up to see a shield of chakra between her and the unusual Naruto. It disappeared and Naruto came after her again. Two more chakra shields appeared between them, but almost as quickly as they appeared, they were gone. Sakura was silent as she watched Hinata drop out of the sky and place a ring of chakra around Naruto's head. He turned and thrusted his shoulder into her. She managed to shield herself with her four big angel-like wings of chakra. As she was forced back and her wings disappeared, she managed to slip two of her chakra rings onto his wrists. She clasped her hands together and Naruto dropped to the ground. He growled as he tried to move his arms. Hinata would take this opportunity to hopefully put a stop to his rampage. She stopped short as Naruto had forced his way back to his feet. Try as he might, however, he still had trouble lifting his arms. Two Yukis appeared and grabbed a hold of his arms in an attempt to restrain him. Hinata rushed in and placed as many of her chakra rings onto his head as she could. She jumped back to safety and cycled through seals. Once she finished, Naruto yelled as the rings glowed and he slowly began to break down. With a great deal of effort, Naruto finally collapsed in the mud. Sakura was astonished. She wasn't sure what she had just witnessed from both Naruto and Hinata. Yuki rushed over from behind as her two shadow clones dispersed. Sakura and Hinata were surprised to find that Yuki hadn't actually gotten physically involved. Of course not, I may be a goof, but I'm not dumb enough to actually go against my brother when he's in that state. It's crazy, Yuki told them. So you know what that was? Sakura inquired. Yuki shifted her gaze. Yeah, he's been using that power a little bit here and there. Sometimes he can control it, but that's only if he isn't so emotional. Something must have upset him. I wonder what it was, Hinata said. My uncle, Asuma-sensei, I can no longer feel his chakra signature, Naruto glumly stated as he strained to sit up. That's unfortunate, Yamato said. He's our uncle. Yuki questioned Naruto. No, Naruto looked at her. Yeah, there were sad expressions on everyone's face. Even though they knew it was possible and could happen eventually, they didn't expect it to be now. I see, Tsunade solemnly said. What about Kurenai? Kotetsu asked. The three of you will inform all relevant parties. As for Kurenai, Shikamaru spoke up. No, I'll tell her. Besides, I have a message for her from Asuma. Naruto's training had begun again after the girls had reluctantly left. The landscape was tattered and torn. Frustration was setting in, as usual, as Naruto couldn't seem to catch a break here. He tried to keep his cool and composure, but it just got to him. This time, however, Yamato was able to handle the situation with slight ease. Kakashi walked over to him and said, I guess that even with all the training you've put in, it still isn't enough. Yeah, this training is tough. The chakra control is hard to do. I feel like I might not be able to do it, with the concentration needed for Rasengan alone is crazy, but now I've got to elementally recompose it as well. It's just ridiculous. It's like trying to look both left and right at the same time. I'm not used to hearing you talk like this. What's happened to the Naruto Uzumaki that I've grown to know? Kakashi looked at the bummed teen and thought about what he had said. Kakashi then said, I think I got it, there may be a way. He created a shadow clone. One looked to the left and the other looked to the right. The two demonstrated this and an idea came to Naruto. A few minutes later. Alright, I'm starting to get the hang of this. Oh, so this is what you figured out. You would use a clone to make the Rasengan, splitting the jobs of generating chakra and spatially recomposing it, so I suppose that's what you intend on doing here as well. Naruto nodded. If I can't look two different directions at once, then I'll have my clone look one way while I look the other. He smiled as the form of his Rasengan grew and changed. Although he got the idea from me, only he's capable of pulling this off. I don't even think the fourth would have thought of something like this. Kakashi watched as Naruto's jutsu advanced right in front of his eyes. I gotta say, you really do live up to your title of most unpredictable ninja. How should I put it? Naruto, I'm really starting to like you. Naruto and his clones didn't know what to make of this. Their concentration and minds scattered to the wind, as did the clones. Naruto sat up. Don't say weird things like that. I was just about to have a breakthrough, but my jutsu just blew up in my face because of you. No, you got the wrong idea. Kakashi came closer. Don't. Stay where you are. Izumo showed up with a message. It was about Asuma's death, but they already knew. He informed them of when they would hold his funeral. They weren't the only ones receiving this news at this time. Shikamaru was visiting Kurenai and upon hearing the tragic news she broke down into tears. His funeral had come and gone. Depression had set in on a great number of people that had known him even a little. One of these people was Shikamaru. It had hit him hard, but with a little life lesson and talk with his father, Shikamaru had gained a new resolve. Over the next few days, he trained seriously and tried to come up with a way to bring down the duo that had handed him a devastating defeat. He let his teammates know of his intentions and they agreed to join him. They met at the village gate ready to depart. Before they even set foot outside the village, they were stopped by the Hokage. The mission's orders are still in effect, right? Shikamaru reasoned. The other squads are still out there, so the three of us formed our own squad. This way, we can continue the mission. I'm not gonna let you all act so rashly. I plan to send a squad back to where you encountered the Akatsuki, but it won't be you. Shikamaru, if you want, I can add you to another squad, but before that, you'll have to take time to clear your head and think of a solid plan of action. Shikamaru lit a cigarette and said, you can send a team to back us up. We have to do this. We already have a plan set up for ourselves. That's enough. The three of you aren't thinking straight. This isn't the way to do this. A team of 4 is the foundation of a squad. Your team captain is gone, without one. Shikamaru responded, Asuma is with us. Vengeance isn't worth throwing away your young lives. The three of us aren't stupid, we don't intend on leaving just to S, it's just that, just leaving things as they are, living without sticking to what we believe in, we just don't want to live like that, cause it's a pain in the ass. You're acting like little kids who don't know any better. You know that being a shinobi means living side by side with death. Occasionally there will be deaths that are hard to accept, but if you can't get over them, you have no future. Don't let these feelings drive you to early graves. Before, you could hardly handle those 2 from Akatsuki with just 4 members, and now there are only 3 of you. Then how about I become their 4th? Kakashi interrupted. It'll be fine that way, right? Tsunade was about to dispute this, but Kakashi told her, it should be alright as long as a capable Junin accompanies them. Tsunade tried again, but Kakashi let her know, even if you try to stop them, they'll still go, but if I'm with them, at least it means that there'll be someone out there looking out for them. Tsunade finally gave in. She agreed to allow it, but asked if Naruto's training was done. Kakashi informed her that it wasn't, but that he was making great progress. He now had a new team captain and Kakashi wouldn't be of any help to him now. Kakashi had no idea of where things would go from here with his development. With things the way they were, Team 10 needed him much more than Naruto. With that said, they set out. As they began their search, Kakashi said, so you say that you've already come up with a strategy. Fill me in. Sakura returned to Naruto's training area. She had information to gather and give out. After the last time, she felt a little uneasy and was a little cautious as she got closer. She remained hidden as she looked on. She watched as Naruto and his clones concentrated their chakra. Even as she approached, they kept their focus up and their backs to her. Noticing Yuki waking up, she asked her, he seems so focused, I'm not used to seeing him like this. Rubbing her eyes, Yuki responded, when he's really determined, he gets like this sometimes, but I don't think he's even gotten any rest since I came back. Yuki pointed over at an exhausted-looking Yamato in the distance. Sakura walked over to him and asked how long the 2 of them had been at this. Drowsily he told her, he trained until late last night and started back shortly after dawn. He shook himself awake and asked her, if you're here because you're worried about Naruto. No, that's not it. I do worry about him, but I know that there isn't much need. He's growing stronger every day, and I should try to do the same. Then, what did you come here for? Naruto, come over here for a second. I have something to tell you. Naruto and his clones looked up. They realized this was a mistake as the Rasengan began to make an odd sound. They each cursed as it blew up in their face. The clones were destroyed as the original was forced to eat dirt. He groaned slightly as he got up, dusted himself off, and he and Yuki gathered around Sakura. I've come to inform you that Team 10, with Kakashi-sensei acting as captain, has set out to find the Akatsuki that they encountered almost a week ago. The Hokage has assigned us as their backup. That is, if you complete your new jutsu in time. I've been at it for this long and I've still only gotten this far, Naruto whined. Well, if you don't complete it in 24 hours, Lady Tsunade will have to send another team, she told him as she started to leave. A determined look appeared on Naruto's face. He created a couple of clones and got back to his training. Oh man, I'm so stiff. Hidden stretched after jumping down from a boulder. A week of sealing is too much. It's such a pain. The two began walking through the forest. It is a pain, but it comes with the territory. Man, we did that for so long that I forgot what it was that I was supposed to do. I didn't. I would like to go back to reclaim that bounty, but. Oh yeah, I was supposed to go back and all those bastards. Don't forget our objective, hidden. What's important is the host. Far. Just a while ago you said that you wanted to go back for that stupid bounty. How is that any different from what I said? Money is more important and affects the whole world. The two were making their way through the forests of the Fire Country. A hawk flew overhead. It watched them closely as it was really Ino. She discovered their location and relayed the information to her team. They had finally found them. They had their strategy set and all that was left was to get it underway. They set up an ambush and awaited the enemy. Kakazu and Hidden came strolling by as if they didn't notice. Shikamaru's shadow crept up. The two made a break for it with the shadows chasing them. Kunai with explosive tags were launched at them. They managed to get by unharmed. As soon as they were clear from the smoke, they searched carefully for any unusual shadows. Kakazu caught notice of Shikamaru in the trees throwing more weapons at them. Since they saw it this time, they were able to dodge them. With Shikamaru falling from high, Hidden and Kakazu were ready to launch their own attacks. After evading the weapons with explosive tags on them, they were about to charge but couldn't move. When there weren't any explosions, Kakazu knew that they had been fooled. Bastard, Hidden strained. What I threw at you was a chakra blade. It absorbs the use's chakra properties. Then it gives off an effect. I was aiming for your shadows from the beginning, Shikamaru explained. The first move was a feint. He tied a fake tag to those blades, tricking us into thinking that we had to avoid them. Doing that while our biggest concern and focus was on the ground kept us from noticing until it was too late. This kid, he's quite sharp, Kakazu thought. I'll you, just you wait. Hidden spat. No response came from Shikamaru. He just stared into Hidden's eyes. There were no signs of burning hatred or that of a cold-hearted cur. The only thing that could be seen in them was an un's passion. What's with that look? Hidden questioned. Don't think that just because you got us, that we're fed. Fed, Shikamaru repeated. According to my plan, it would be over the second that I caught you, he revealed. Shikamaru's shadow shifted and made its way towards Hidden. With ease, it connected with his. Using his shadow sewing technique, Shikamaru plucked the chakra blade from the ground, saying that he wouldn't get the order wrong this time. With Hidden under his control, Shikamaru had him grab his scythe and charge for Kakazu. Just in time, Kakazu forced the blade in his shadow from the ground and ducked. Shikamaru kept up the attack, but Kakazu was too quick. He created a little distance between him and his partner in order to say, "You thought you had everything covered, but it was over the moment you miscalculated my abilities. Because I actually use my brain, unlike my partner, I was one step ahead of you. Even if you are wise every aspect of a battle, there's no guarantee that everything will go according to plan." Hidden was more than visibly upset by the way his partner talked about him to the enemy. The F was that about with the whole, unlike my partner, bulls. Tired of Hidden's mouth, Shikamaru used him once again to lead the assault. If he was SD in the process, it wouldn't necessarily be discouraging. At least he may be able to gather a little more information on the enemy's ability. It would definitely be a good test if this Hidden character was truly as immortal as he claimed. Hidden was forced to swing his weapon about furiously with no regard of what could happen to him. Reluctant to fight his own partner, Kakazu found himself between a rock and a hard place. Kakazu heard Shikamaru yell to someone that now was the time. From above, a spiky-haired Chuji attacked with his spiked meat tank. He rapidly spun and crashed down on the unsuspecting Kakazu with tremendous force. Kakuzuu. Hidden cried as he was forced back. Chuji grinded and grinded into the ground. He stopped and returned to Shikamaru's side, stating that something was wrong. The two, and Hidden, watched as Kakazu stood back to his feet in his sped and tattered robe. He can harden his body like steel, Shikamaru revealed after advising Kakazu and his actions thus far. That's another good Izzy's. You're right, no physical attack can harm me, he stated. Good, Hidden said. Now it's our turn, Kakazu. Now hurry up and break me free from this jutz. Before he could finish, Both he and Kakazu were surprised by the sudden surprise and subbing from Kakashi. Using Lightning Blade, Kakashi had managed to el Kakazu's hard as steel body and his heart. How the hell? Kakazu questioned. Kakashi explained, the seals you used for your iron skin used earth-type nature manipulation. I just countered with my own jutsu. Lightning jutsu of this level, and you were able to read my seals at that speed. Your looks like you got matched against the wrong guy, and now you're gonna Kakashi stated. Kakazu's body trembled as his jutsu was undone and he fell to the ground after Kakashi removed his arm. Kakashi turned to Hiden and claimed, you're next. He activated his lightning blade once again and charged for him with great speed. He closed the distance quickly. As he was about to deliver the blow, a fist punched him from his right. Kakashi stumbled as he tried to stop and regain his composure. Before he could, the same fist that had hit him came back again and grabbed him around the N. It jerked him back towards Kakazu as threads connected to his arm burst from the ground. With a kick to his gut, Kakazu sent Kakashi reeling by Hiden and into a large tree root. He removed what was left of his Akatsuki robe as Hiden demanded that he help him out of his predicament. Kakazu gave him a cold stare before 4 masks exploded from his back. What's going on? Ino thought as she watched as the masks gained boss of their own. As Shikamaru's hold on him was lifted, Hiden ecstatically exclaimed, F yeah. Now I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna them all for you Lord Jashin. Let's fin. MKAKUZU. Hiden quieted as one of the masked boss began to shrivel up and behave as if As it became nothing more than a puddle of weird black ooze, Hiden commented, what the hell man? That's pretty pathetic. The Leaf Shinobi wised this event and tried to interpret what it meant, but neither could make heads or tails of it. Stay back Hiden, I'll finish this. Wait man. We've been made fools of since the beginning and you expect me to just sit back and watch? I don't think so, he smiled as he said, let's do the usual. Kakazu didn't protest. Everyone prepared themselves for what may come next. Hiden spun his scythe around himself before rushing at Kakashi. As he neared, Kakashi jumped back, avoiding having his head taken off. He was shocked to see one of the masked figures appearing right behind Hiden and unleashing a blast of pressurized wind. It engulfed Hiden and devastated everything in its path. Kakashi-sensei, Ino said to herself. That guy got his teammate with that last attack as well, they must be using his immortality to their advantage, how can we get around that kind of strategy? Kakashi had disappeared and Kakazu turned his focus to Shikamaru and Chuji. The bull mask opened its mouth and electricity crackled. As a flash of lightning shot at the two, Ino revealed herself in hopes of warning her teammates in time. Shikamaru pulled a scroll as Kakashi suddenly appeared and saved them with a double, lightning blade. The force of the previous attacks had left him and his clothes slightly dirty, tattered, and torn to the point that his flak jacket was gone as were his gloves. Ino came running to supply Kakashi with a little medical treatment as quickly as possible. Before she could properly tend to all of his wounds however, Kakazu's lion-masked NT began building flames in its mouth. The Leaf Squad was shocked to see a fireball coming their way. As it exploded, they questioned just what else this guy was capable of. They managed to avoid taking serious damage as they separated. Hiden targeted Kakashi once again for managing to survive their first assault. Kakashi pulled a kunai and the two clashed all around the area. The clangs of their weapons echoed and were only drowned out by the thunderous sounds of Kakazu trying to blow away the rest of Team 10. This fight was dragging out for too long for Kakashi's liking. A kick from Hiden into a tree was a sign of fatigue beginning to set in. Hiden closed in on the downed Kakashi and swung his scythe. He impaled Kakashi with glee on his face. This changed as Kakashi went up in smoke and he felt a few sharp pains in his back. Kakashi had thrown a few kunai and shuriken at him and was now getting away. Hiden turned and threw his tethered scythe down the tree after him. Kakashi realized in time and bound from the trunk to regroup with his team. Hiden was pissed as he rejoined his partner's side. Are you alright, Kakashi-sensei? Ino asked. Yeah, he answered. This is just harder than I had hoped. Well, it's because that guy didn't even though I'm sure that you got him. How is he not Chuji spoke up. Kakashi responded, perhaps if I had gotten his heart, he would be, but what I actually got was one of those masked monsters. I think that it SD in his place. Shikamaru spoke. Earlier there was something beating like a heart in that mass that was attached to his hand. This is just a guess, but I'd say each one of those monsters probably has a heart of its own and they all tie back to him. Essentially, it seems he has 5 hearts, 4 now since Kakashi got one of them, Shikamaru figured. The team concluded that in order to fully dispose of this guy, they must eliminate all of his hearts. While they were saying all this, Kakazu listened as he was intrigued by Shikamaru's intellect. Once again, he impressed him by figuring out another one of his secrets. Since you managed to rid me of one of those hearts, I'll have to restock on some from other shinobi, he revealed. You guys should do nicely. Looks like we'd be better off separating them, Shikamaru whispered. First we neutralize their team attacks, and then we focus on killing the other guy 4 more times. We need to find some way to incapacitate that hidden guy. I'll do it, Ino volunteered. I've got the most chakra left. I may not be the most scared in straight fighting, but I can keep him preoccupied with my mind transfer jutsu. I know I'm supposed to stay back, but Shikamaru quickly dismissed her. No way, since you're our only medic nin, you should hang back just in case. Also, I don't want to risk you becoming a sitting duck. If you miss, I'll do it myself and get him out of the way. The rest of you focus on that masked guy. Ino looked a bit dejected, but she understood what Shikamaru was saying. It would be best at the moment if she stuck to support. Kakashi handed something to Shikamaru and he began advancing towards the enemy, watchful for any sudden movements. A smile crossed Hiden's face as the talking was now over. Shikamaru stopped, but his shadow continued forward. It branched out in multiple directions in hopes of overwhelming the enemy. The Akatsuki began jumping all about, trying to avoid being caught by this technique again. While distracted, Kakashi took this chance to slip by the masks and close in on Kakazu. Shikamaru's shadow was losing in a race with Hiden as he began to pull away. From the ground, it picked up the remaining chakra blade and tossed it at Hiden. Realizing it, Hiden became determined not to let it happen again. It was close as Hiden jumped from the tree and into the air. He then realized that he was stuck since he couldn't dodge in the air, and another shadow picked up the blade once again. As if biding its time, the shadow waited for the best time to throw the knife. As Hiden neared the ground and his shadow enlarged, Shikamaru threw the knife. Hiden planted his scythe in the ground and, in another close call, avoided being pinned. What he didn't account for was Shikamaru appearing right next to him, connecting with a punch. Hiden dropped back as Shikamaru's jutsu took effect. Captured once again by Shikamaru and his shadow mastery, Hiden was now under his control, no matter how much he struggled. As Shikamaru forced him to drop his weapon and led his captive away, his team wished him luck. It was now just Kakazu and the rest of Team 10 to hash out the problems. Kakashi became locked in a taijutsu contest with Kakazu. Kakashi threw a straight punch which Kakazu sidestepped. Kakashi came back with a back chop, but it was ducked. Kakazu tried an uppercut and Kakashi dodged. He then planted a front kick into Kakazu's body. As he did, he felt it harden. Kakazu then pulled him in and knocked the breath out of him with a hard punch to the gut. Kakashi crumpled to the ground and began rolling around as Kakazu tried to stomp on him. Having a hard time recovering, all Kakashi could do was keep from being stepped on. A brief distraction and he turned his attention to Chuji dodging blasts from his masks. He was also forcibly stopped and partially controlled by an unknown jutsu. Kakashi looked over to see Ino using the mind-body disturbance technique. An attack from one of the masks disrupted this on the other hand. This gave Kakashi an opening, however. He swept Kakazu off of his feet and ran for it. Kakazu extended his arm and grabbed Kakashi's leg. He slammed him to the ground a couple of times before hurling him deeper into the forest. Kakazu turned his attention to Chuji, who had just managed to avoid an onslaught from the masks. Through the cloud of dirt and dust Kakazu appeared. He hardened his body as he prepared to deliver a punch to the youngster. Chuji noticed in time and moved to avoid being put 6 feet under. Chuji swiped at Kakazu, who ducked it and kicked him away. Chuji rolled to his feet and enlarged his fist. He punched but was stopped easily by Kakazu's iron skin jutsu. As he shook off the pain, Kakazu charged. Chuji quickly increased his entire mass. Kakazu quickly came to a halt as Chuji kicked him away with the end of his foot. Kakazu flew through the air and crashed into one of the many giant tree roots around. Chuji went after him as he emerged unscathed. Focused on him, Chuji didn't realize that he was the target of the masks. If it weren't for Ino's warning and his quick action of releasing his jutsu, Chuji would have had his head blown off. As he returned to normal size, Kakazu attacked with a straight kick to the gut. Chuji fell back and rolled into Ino's arms. She quickly pulled out a kunai and readied to protect her teammate. Kakazu took his sweet time as he slowly strolled his way towards the two Chunin. He began picking up the pace but was thwarted by Kakashi, who exploded with an uppercut from the ground. Kakazu fell back but laughed as he got back up. So you're back already. Looks like your numbers are a big help for you, but you shouldn't have let that kid go off alone with Hidden. You guys are seriously underestimating him and myself. I guess it doesn't really matter since you'll all be S once this is over anyway. There's just too much battle experience between you and I, he pointed at all three. Seeing your headbands reminds me of the first Leaf Shinobi I ever fought, the first Hokage, he revealed. How old can he be? Ino questioned. Is it possible that you're really immortal? Kakashi asked, dumbfounded. Nah, Kakazu denied. No one is truly immortal. By continuing to stock up on hearts from stronger and stronger shinobi before they kick the bucket, I've managed to lengthen my lifespan. It seems that the most I can have in stock at one time is 5, and Kakashi, I plan to replace the one you destroyed with yours. He said ominously. He made a motion and 2 of his masks, the fire and wind, combined. They then directed their even more destructive attack on the remains of Team 10. You're separating me from Kakazu. That's a big mistake, Hidden commented as he was led to an isolated area. I just wanted to take a nice little stroll, just the 2 of us, Shikamaru responded. The 2 stopped running. Shikamaru began lining the area with lines of explosive tags. It suited Hidden just fine since he figured that it would be Shikamaru that was trapped with him. He smiled wickedly as Shikamaru's shadow shrunk back to normal. He attacked, pulling a pike from his robe. He swung it and, even though Shikamaru had tried to evade it, drew blood. He licked it off and his jutsu activated. He espered his hand and quickly drew his symbol on the ground. Jeering at Shikamaru and mocking him one last time, Hidden drove his pike through his heart. He gave a single M of pleasure as Shikamaru clutched his chest. Being empowered by wind, the fire attack was larger and more devastating than before. Kakashi couldn't even fully block it with a water-natured attack. As he and his team jumped out of the attack's path, Kakazu grabbed a hold of them and slammed them to the ground. He focused on Kakashi, saying that he would now be taking his heart. As he was about to, he felt a strange and unusual sensation come over his body and in his chest. He clutched it as he slumped to the ground. Kakashi explained, Shikamaru knew that the key to your partner's ability was blood and planned on using yours from the beginning. I managed to do it when I punched a hole in your chest earlier and handed the capsule containing it to Shikamaru before he headed off with Hidden. Impossible. No, not likely, it's you guys that are underestimating Shikamaru. There's no way he would just let the information Asuma risked his life for go to waste, Kakashi enlightened as Kakazu stopped breathing. Satisfied that he had done his job and hoping that there was still more to Hidden decided to rejoin his partner. He didn't notice a blade aimed for his N until it was too late. Both he and his headband fell to the ground. Hidden sat up, pissed that he had been tricked and had his NS, though he had lucked out and kept his head this time. Seeing that he hadn't been successfully in fully decapitating him, Shikamaru's shadow raced across the ground. It restrained Hidden before he could come to his senses. How the hell are you still alive? Hidden asked. Wiping the blood from his cheek, Shikamaru explained, I was playing possum. The blood on your weapon was really your partner's. That was our plan, and you fell for it. Hidden looked shocked to hear this. This had been a bad day. He had been falling for tricks all day, and he couldn't stand that. Blood splurted and ran from his N as he strained to force himself out of Shikamaru's jutsu. He managed to get to his feet claiming, it's not as strong as earlier, I can move through it. It seems that the more you use it and the longer you hold it, the weaker it gets. You're about out of chakra, ain't ya? He closed in on Shikamaru. Kakazu was down, for the moment, but his masks were still up and about. They charged the team. To protect his team, Chuji increased his size with his multi-size technique once again. Mega Palm Thrust. Chuji said the attackers into the ground, crushing them under his palms. One of them had slipped by and got close enough to return to Kakazu. As it did, the threads exploded from his body and began entangling everyone. It's been ages since I lost 2 hearts in one fight, he boasted. The 2 remaining masks recombined with Kakazu's body as well, changing his form to that of an odd-looking monster. The threads bursted from his body as the masks were mounted on his shoulders like cannons and prepared to fire. No longer caring about regaining a heart, Kakazu told them to s. Unable to free themselves, Team 10 was at the mercy of Kakazu's attack as it blasted off. Drowning Maelstrom. Naruto and Yamato called. A vortex of water exploded between Team 10 and Kakazu's attack, dousing it completely. From there, Kakazu's threads were cut by Sai and Sakura. Hope we're not too late, Naruto said as his team appeared on the scene. Kakashi, Ino, and Chuji each let out a sigh of relief as they were happy to see Team 7. Yamato looked over the area, Team 10, and Kakashi. He concluded that the guy they had been fighting must have been extremely difficult to deal with. Naruto asked where Shikamaru was and Kakashi informed them that he was detaining the other Akatsuki. Kakashi summoned Pakken and told him to find Shikamaru. Sai, Sakura, follow Pakken and back up Shikamaru, Yamato ordered. Hidden cackled as he raised his pike in the air. Had you devoted your life to Lord Jashin, he might have saved you. But even if you converted now, a heathen like you would never be forgiven by Lord Jashin. Hidden thrusted his pike at Shikamaru but was stopped. A shadowy hand crept its way around his body and restrained him. I don't need your messed up god's forgiveness, Shikamaru told him. Shadow summoning technique. From there, multiple tendrils of shadow sprang forth. They snagged the lines of the explosive tags and wrapped Hidden with them. Shikamaru had set a trap and it was time to trigger it. He tossed his dagger at a mark which caused the ground under Hidden to crumble. He dangled over the pit cursing Shikamaru for putting him in this position. Just a little thing I set up beforehand. So he wasn't just trying to be some kind of stupid hero, he lured me here. But, that means that he planned this too. Hidden thought. Shikamaru pulled a pack of cigarettes, formerly Asuma's, out of one of his pockets. He also pulled out a lighter and lit a single cigarette he had placed between his lips. Talking while keeping it in place, he tossed the pack in the pit and told Hidden, you should know that, what goes around comes around. You've probably killed countless people with your curse, but you made the mistake of making my teacher one of those victims. Don't think that you can just go on without any repercussions. Hidden began cackling, sputtering his blood about. He claimed, I won't s. This is just a wasted effort. Shikamaru pointed to the deep hole his body hung over. I don't really care, all I know is that you won't be able to run around freely anymore. That hole there is your grave. A look of confusion appeared on Hidden's face for a moment before a smile took its place. Shikamaru explained, this forest is a special area within the Fire Country. Specifically, only my clan is allowed to set foot here, because of that, no one will find you here for generations. One last drag of his cigarette and one final memory and goodbye for his sensei, Asuma, and Shikamaru tossed the lighter at Hidden. Shikamaru dropped his cigarette and put it out as Hidden watched the lighter collide with one of the tags, setting off a chain reaction of explosions. Hidden cringed as his body was horrendously forced to separate as his bones broke, his skin tore, and his blood and guts spilled into the dark pit. As it settled after spatters of blood splashed around the hole, and some on him, Shikamaru approached to see the results with his own eyes. He saw Hidden's body parts scattered about the pit. No surprise to him, Hidden started running his mouth again. He cackled, Gyahahaha. Well look at this, you fed me up pretty good, but you know what? Even if my body is scattered and I only have my head, I'll find a way out of this hole and out your tea. You will feel the wrath of Lord Jashin as he punishes you for what you've done. Even if you repent, you won't escape Lord Jashin's divine judgment. As Shikamaru emotionlessly looked down at him, he pulled a kunai with more explosive tags. As he did this, he said, like I'm afraid of something like that. You and me believe in different things, I believe in the will of fire. I have to say though, you say this Lord Jashin or whatever is your god, but you're wrong. Right now, I'm your god and I'll deal you my judgment. Shikamaru added the explosive tags to the kunai and threw it to the pit wall. It stuck and instantaneously caused it to cave in. Even as this occurred and stones began blanketing him, Hiden continued to talk about judgment and wrath. Unfazed, Shikamaru watched as Hiden was finally silenced. His job done, Shikamaru looked to be in a daze until he was gently nudged by a deer. Sakura and Sai showed up as Shikamaru began petting it. Oh, Sakura. Shikamaru. Are you alright? Where's that guy from Akatsuki? I'm fine, you guys are a little late. Wait, you don't mean. You defeated an Akatsuki on your own? Sai inquired. Shikamaru nodded. Seeing this, Sakura stated, then we came for nothing, we'd better get back to the others in case they need our help. Sure, Shikamaru said. You guys go on ahead, I'll just slow you down. Sakura looked at Shikamaru and noticed that he looked a little tired. I'll heal you now, she said. As she began the healing process, Shikamaru asked, are you sure this is okay? I don't want to be troublesome, what if Naruto needs you? A faint smile crossed Sakura's lips as she said, I'm sure he's alright, he's worked so hard to become stronger and I have faith in him, just don't tell him I said that. Naruto and Kakazu traded glares. Naruto stepped forward asking to fight this guy alone. Even though he had only completed his new jutsu halfway, Kakashi was willing to give him this opportunity to prove himself. Another foolish youngster jumping in where he shouldn't, Kakazu commented. Naruto quickly made a couple of shadow clones. At this, Kakazu noted, I see, so you're the host that we were sent to capture. I have to say, this just makes things easier. Naruto, be careful, Kakashi warned. This guy has the ability to separate himself using those two masks on his shoulders. They can all work together or even individually. How is that possible? Yamato questioned. Seemingly unworried, Kakazu let Kakashi continue, he does it using hearts. He had 5 to begin with, but after killing him twice already, he has 3 left. We have to K him at least that many more times. He's also a midrange type that uses all kinds of nature manipulation. Naruto acknowledged that he heard Kakashi's explanation. Ino and Chuji shouted in concern as 2 of the Narutos charged. They watched as the Narutos tossed kunai and shuriken while avoiding Kakazu's threads as best they could. Kakazu swatted these ninja tools out of the air and grasped at the 2 running about. Frustration began to set in as Kakazu had difficulty getting a handle on the rampant youngsters. They closed in and Kakazu's masks retaliated. Both clones were blown away in an instant. He gloated at Naruto's shallow attempt. Kakashi watched as Naruto seemed to realize what he had witnessed and experienced. He was really getting the hang of the shadow clone jutsu. Naruto created 3 more clones after wrapping his tails around his waist. As one stood as a guard and a human shield, the others began doing something behind his back. From where he stood, Kakazu couldn't see it as they gathered and focused chakra, but he could hear its eerie screech. He locked eyes with the QBI teens as they revealed what they had been up to by raising it into the air. Wind style, Raisin Shuriken. Naruto exclaimed as chakra spiraled around a perfect sphere, making it look like a giant shuriken. Everyone was amazed to behold this sight. Kakazu on the other hand was horrified. What is that? I can't let myself be hit by something like that, it spells instant death. Kakazu thought. This is the QB host's power. It's a monstrous jutsu. The small group of Naruto charged and Kakazu stood at the ready. He watched each carefully as 2 split his sights and the other 2 came straight at him. One jumped into the air but was caught by Kakazu's threads. He then turned his focus to 2 that were attacking from opposite sides. Using his masks once again, Kakazu blew them away easily. He was horrified as the eerie screeching of Naruto's jutsu grew louder and was stupefied once he realized that it was coming from behind. He quickly turned around in hopes that he could stop Naruto in time, but it was too late. Everyone watched in awe as Naruto closed in. Naruto stuck out his hand and his jutsu at Kakazu's frame, but before he could make contact, an errant curse, a graze from some of his threads, and Kakazu hardening his body, Naruto slipped up. He lost control and, just as he was about to follow through with his jutsu, it blew up in his and Kakazu's face. Naruto was blown back by his own jutsu. He fell to the ground not too far from Kakazu. Seeing his chance, Kakazu attacked. Kakashi and the others acted as quickly as they could to rescue Naruto. as Kakazu's threads sprawled about as they enclosed on Naruto, but he was too slow. As the threads crashed into the earth, it was revealed that the Naruto he had attacked was an afterimage. Naruto reappeared in front of his comrades with a scowl on his face. Both Ino and Chuji questioned what the last event was about. Why did it look like a shuriken if it wasn't thrown like one, and what happened for it to blow up in his face? Naruto explained that he needed to remain focused enough to carry it through and quickly since he had only a short amount of time. Because of all of this, it was necessary to use a shadow clone, feint. Kakazu eyed Naruto and thought, that jutsu, as long as he doesn't get too close and keep my attention on the original with that jutsu, I have nothing to fear. The leaf shinobi watched as Kakazu adjusted his form. More threads exploded from his body and his mouth. Since this guy is dangerous, it'd be best if we handle this together, Kakashi suggested. He's bright, so it's likely that the same trick won't work a second time. It was the same with Shikamaru and his jutsu. Naruto stepped forward. With his back to his comrades, he said, Kakashi-sensei, do you remember what you said to me during my training? You told me that I was the only one that you believed could surpass the fourth. I took those words to heart and I want to believe the same, but in order for me to amount to that, I have to show that I'm capable of that. I know that teamwork is important, but I have to cross that bridge by myself. If I can't get to the other side on my own, then I'll never grow. Obviously a bit moved by his words, Kakashi and Yamato gave him their approval. Once again, Naruto would attempt to eliminate this threat on his own. He created the same number of clones. Before he could get started, Kakazu made his move. Using his lengthened threads, he tried to grab a hold of them all. They immediately stopped what they were doing and avoided being captured by scattering. Threads and the Naruto spread all about. The threads chased him up, over, and around trees and their roots as they weaved and swerved to keep on the move. If I can keep them from forming that jutsu altogether, then that's even better. His threads followed one of the Narutos behind a tree and caught up to him. Kakazu dragged him from behind it and tried to pull out his heart. As soon as he tried, it was revealed as a clone. Frustrated that he was being made a fool of by this young brat, Kakazu tried to hurry the process of eliminating the original. Kakazu noticed two more coming at him and blasted them away. He then picked up on a bright flash out front. He looked up to see the final Naruto rearing back. This was as good an opportunity to finally be rid of this pesky brat. He was going to attack, but he realized that chakra was forming in his hand and stood his ground. What's he up to? Kakazu pondered as he watched Naruto carefully. A smirk appeared on Naruto's face as he threw his hands forward, releasing a blast of chakra, dragon wave. The red-haired kid shouted. This was unexpected. Kakazu wasn't sure of how to react. Acting on impulse, he jumped to evade the attack. He watched as Naruto once again smiled. What was he smiling about? Shooting star. Two red-haired Narutos yelled as they crashed into the sides of Kakazu, spinning through his threads. Watching his threads fall to the earth and the Narutos go up in smoke, Kakazu questioned the situation. What is going on? He freaked as a chill went up and down his spine from hearing the eerie screeching from that jutsu. Before he knew it, he felt something make contact with his back. The leaf shinobi held their breaths. This time, his jutsu didn't fail. A giant vortex of wind trapped Kakazu as it sped into his body on many levels. Once it finally subsided, Kakazu fell into the giant crater left by the effects of the attack while Naruto landed on the outer rim. The amount of damage dealt in that one attack, even with the Sharingan, I couldn't see it all. What a jutsu, Kakashi thought as he walked over to the crater and peered in. He noticed that there was still a bit of life left in the enemy's broken body. He left Naruto to Ino and the others while he headed into the crater. For me to be beaten by a bunch of kids, Kakazu managed to say. Kakashi responded, well, to someone who once fought the first Hokage, I guess we do look like kids, and you're like some crazy old man from our point of view. He activated another lightning blade, as he said, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself for losing to us kids because that's just how life works. As the old generation marches out, the new comes in and takes the place, surpassing them if you will. Your time has come, old man. Kakashi put Kakazu out of his misery just as Shikamaru, Sakura, and Sai arrived. Immediately, Sakura rushed to aid Ino in Naruto's treatment. What's the situation? Sakura asked. He's broken the bones in his right forearm, but there's also something odd with the chakra within it as well, Ino told her. Here, let me take over, Sakura imposed. I can do it, Ino assured her. No, let me do it, I have more experience, Sakura shoved her out of the way. Why should I when I was here first? Ino complained as she grabbed onto Naruto. Latching onto him as well, and ignoring his groans and grunts of agony, Sakura replied, You said that there was something strange with his chakra, so you obviously don't know how to handle it. Since I'm better at this, you should just leave it to me, she strained as she pulled. Straining as well, Ino said, Better. How are you better than me? You may have started doing this before I did, but I'm catching up to you fast, billboard brow. Sakura grunted as she tugged, Ino, you pig. The two continued to struggle and play tug of war with the injured Naruto until someone finally stepped in. With the matter partially resolved, the Leaf Shinobi returned to the village to report their results as well as deliver a little present to those in the lab. The Hokage congratulated them on a job well done and dismissed them. Finally understanding what his sensei was trying to teach him, Shikamaru went to find Kurenai to give her the details. He would also inform her of his decision to be there to look after and protect her and Asuma's child in the future. She seemed satisfied with that, as did he, since he had finally found a great aspiration for his life. After having his arm examined, Naruto had it put in a cast and a sling before leaving the hospital. He met up with Sakura who, for reason unknown other than to probably annoy him, was accompanied by Sai. They were soon joined by an annoyed Yuki who looked as if she had been slaving all day. Knowing her and the temperament of the Hokage, this seemed very logical. Since the two siblings had a rough day, Sakura decided to let them pick what the team ate. She wouldn't treat them, she'd be crazy to do that, but she would put up with an evening listening to their GSES and groans if it would make them feel better. Sakura wasn't surprised in the least to be sitting on a stool at Ichiraku's. Once their orders came, Naruto seemed to be having difficulty eating, since he normally did with his right of course. He pathetically med and groaned and viciously growled as he failed time and time again to get the food into his mouth with either hand. Using his left for this was harder than he figured, and it just didn't feel right. Sakura watched as Naruto tried again and again. To her, it was just like him even if he had no real chance. Whether it was eating with his handicap or defeating an Akatsuki, Naruto was growing rapidly, leaving her behind. She thought that since he was currently injured that maybe, somehow, she could catch up to him. Although she wanted to, she knew it was impossible and wrong to think like this. She wished that Hinata were back from her team mission so that these thoughts could disappear. She didn't want to grow while Naruto sat still, she wanted to grow together like they had been doing. Who knows, maybe he could help her grow faster than she had before. Ow. Damn it. Sakura was ejected from her thoughts as she heard Naruto's cry. She turned to see that he had spilled some of his food into his lap. He put down his chopsticks to grab a few napkins with his left. As he did this, Sakura scooched in closer. I guess it can't be helped with you in this pathetic state, she said, catching Naruto's attention. She grabbed his chopsticks as he stared at her in surprise. Was she going to actually feed him? Naruto opened his mouth as Sakura picked up some food from his bowl. Here ya go. Naruto closed his mouth and happily chewed the food. He then noticed a smile on Sakura's face and food still on the chopsticks. Want some more? He heard a voice ask him. Naruto turned to see Sai offering him food. He nearly choked as he finally realized what had happened. Sai, what the hell? It wasn't supposed to be you. And did you feed me with your chopsticks? Sai looked confused. Well, Sakura already had yours in her hands and I just wanted to help. I read a book that said that you're supposed to help a friend in need. That's still not the case, Naruto argued. You have to read the situation and the atmosphere. Instead of feeding me, you should have decided to leave the two of us alone. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura and Yuki called out as he showed up. Sakura and Yuki slid down, allowing Kakashi to sit by Naruto. From there, Naruto pouted as Kakashi then offered to feed him. Not wasting any time, Kakashi got right down to it. Naruto, you really have become strong enough to stand by my side in battle. You may have even surpassed me, but there's one thing you need to know, the greater the jutsu, the greater the risk, your new one. I already know, Naruto said. I may not look it, but I've had quite a few experiences with that. I'll either find a way to make it work or put it away. It's not really that big a deal. No one knows my body better after all. Except maybe me, Yuki claimed. Don't joke about things like that, Naruto growled. He then turned back to Kakashi and smiled. I'm the guy who's gonna become Hokage. You said it yourself, I'm awesome, so there's no problem. This brought a smile to everyone's face. Kakashi changed his mind about what he was going to say. After putting away the food and time to pay the bill, Sakura casually slipped it to Naruto, who slipped it to Kakashi. Reluctantly, he paid it. They began leaving, Ichiraku's, but saw two Konohamaras standing before them. They questioned what he was up to and he answered. See double knockout girls, girl on girl technique. They both transformed into beautiful nude girls. They pressed their boss together as they began caressing each other. The group of onlookers, including Naruto, had various reactions. Naruto and Yuki, as well as random guys, were impressed by this display. Sai and Kakashi didn't show any reaction, or just didn't know what kind to. But Sakura was both horrified and disgusted. As they returned to normal, Sakura stomped over and said both together, dispersing the clone. The two of you better not be doing these kinds of degrading things every time you see each other. She growled. It's so stupid. She shook Konohamaru. And no, Naruto denied. This kind of thing can be used as a diversion too. We also use it to settle little competitions between us. Ha, she groaned. Don't go about practicing stupid things like this, you LED ninjas. The only ones idiot enough to fall for something like this is you. Konohamaru took this as a challenge. Oh yeah? He formed his hand seal, see knockout guy's technique. They took on the appearance of a nude Sasuke and Sai sandwiching Naruto. This time the spectrum was flipped. This time Sakura and Yuki, and a few secret admirers, enjoyed it while both Naruto and Kakashi were outwardly horrified and disgusted. What the hell, man? Naruto slammed the fake copies, forcing Konohamaru to return to normal. Don't make me look at something so nasty. And when the hell did you ever see me en? Sakura realized that she had fallen victim to this so-called, stupid, technique. She tried to play it off but her rouge was seen through. She tried to explain it away, but Yuki chuckled, he, looks like you're one of us, Konohamaru grimly stated. As if in a horror movie, Sakura let out a bone-chilling scream. A field of 100 shinobi lay sprawled out. The one responsible, the one that left them all in this condition, the single soul that proved to be too powerful for all of them to overcome was. You didn't K them, you're too soft, Sasuke, Orochimaru hissed. Sasuke rose from his seat on one of the fallen shinobi's back saying, I have no desire to K unnecessarily. There's only one person I want to K. Orochimaru smiled, if you aren't merciless, you'll never defeat Itachi. Sasuke looked at the snake, there'll be no mercy once he's right in front of me. As Sasuke walked by him, Orochimaru thought, he didn't shed a single drop of blood. When I see this boy, the fact that I was once called a genius seems pitiful. Just a little longer and he'll truly be mine. Orochimaru licked his lips. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.